That brings us to the kind of the first one is a more efficient perception of reality and more comfortable relations with it. So that's one of the first characteristics that Maslow defined as being self-actualized. And so what that means, in my opinion, is that you can see things for what they are. So you have that more
You can see
realistic.
through the bullshit.
Yeah.
Basically.
And so that can be something that's learned, like with trust issues and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
But it's more to do with seeing when something's fake or when something's a facade and not a genuine kind of take on things. So you can see through that and
call it out.
Sometimes you need
call
to.
it out.
Not always.
No, not always. Sometimes you might end up in
I think
the wrong
sometimes it's
situation.
just not worth your energy to
But even internally call it out.
Being
aware.
Yeah, being aware.
Being aware of the real reality because, I don't know, again, I'm not going to rave on about NPCs and like, but at the same time, it's kind of like that. Like there are a lot of people who choose, like, I'll give you the example of the nose on your face trick. You can't see your nose on your face. That's your perception of reality. Your brain is tricking you to delete the nose out of the frame because it's annoying. So that's the kind of power your brain has. And this happens automatically. But people's perception of reality also works that way. If you choose just to block everything out that's annoying or you don't like, you're no longer living in reality. And it's probably hard sometimes to live in reality and to face it. I get that. But, but I think half the reason for all that is like the drug abuse that happens and everything else that happens is very focused around that. It's very hard to accept reality, and because it's not the prettiest thing sometimes. But again, in the quieter moments, looking around yourself, being in the moment, like that all sounds so hippie, but it's not. Like it is true that the universe is an amazing, beautiful place, and to even be here is hundreds to the trillions to one.
So as we get further into this podcast, Accidentally Actualized, we'll be talking about the 15 main characteristics of what Maslow defined as being self-actualized. And to touch on the last podcast that we shared just before about introducing what accidentally actualized is, we discovered we were actualized through a video we watched, and we realized that self-actualization actually fits the bill for us. So the first one that he defined as being self-actualized is having a more efficient perception of reality and being more comfortable in your relations with it. So what my perception of that is that self-actualized people can see through the bullshit. They can see a little bit more of the reality around them, and they're comfortable with their connections to that. They don't feel like they cannot cope with the reality that's around them, and no matter how uncomfortable it might be. So that doesn't always come naturally. That takes time to evolve. But when you realize what reality is and you sit in it and you understand it, it actually becomes you become more aware of how to live your life within that framework that you understand. So what's your perception of that one, Matt?
So we're going to do just random stories to explain, say, each point. So number one being the more efficient perception of reality and being able to basically deal with that. So our stories, me and Mindy are the opposite, where we grew up. And Mindy came from basically the Australian ghetto, and I came from the North Shore, which is like the wealthy people.
In Sydney.
Yeah, in Sydney.
Yeah.
So,
the more wealthy
area of stuff. And so we're just going to share that story and the basics of it. Like the reality of that to me would be that the North Shore was just so fake. There was nothing there drew me to it. The people nor any of it. The only nice part I liked were the views and nature and that side of it was pretty. But growing up in the North Shore for me, I actually struggled. I couldn't align with anyone. The only people I liked there were like, 82-year-old ex-war veterans who spoke how it really was. They were pretty cool, but everyone else was lacking a lot, lacking truth or anything. but they twisted their reality. Like the North Shore was bizarre. The way people treat each other, the way they basically just play, keeping up with the Joneses 24/7, and like anywhere, most of them couldn't afford it really anyway. So it's just, there was such a load of bullshit in my head. Yet then Mindy lived on the other side of Sydney, on the west side.
In housing commission. So I grew up in Western Sydney. So there was a massive big housing commission area out Seven Hills area. So way out west. So it's fair far away. We're on opposite ends of the city, weren't we? So Western Sydney and housing commission, public housing in the 1980s. So my parents divorced when I was about 5. I was quite young. And my mum got herself into a little bit of trouble in terms of finances and got kind of caught up with people like drug users and things like that, and liked the party scene a bit too much. So we ended up in public housing, single mum, that type of thing. And I'm not dissing my mum. I don't have any hatred towards my mum, but the energy of growing up like that was struggle, and it was a life that I didn't align with, not because of the lack of money or the poverty and all of that stuff, but more the illusionary aspect of it is that people in those environments, there's a lot of mental health, there's a lot of drug use, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, criminal activity, things like that, that enables lying. And it was a very big part of my childhood. My mum struggled with compulsive lying. And so for me, as a somebody who really struggles with lying, as a child, I felt very misaligned with that. So it actually made me question my truth and my reality at the time. And I thought that I might be the odd one out because I could never accept these lies all the time.
But she believed her own bullshit.
And my mother
She
did
said
believe so much of
the
her
same
lies.
thing over and over until she believed her own
Yes.
lies. So that's the reality thing. This is what number one is
Her
all about.
perception was that she was believing what she was creating. But, and I'm not saying, I think perception is such an interesting concept, but when it's a reality, when you can see it for what it is, and it's being manufactured by somebody to try and almost preserve themselves, it was almost like it was like a self-preserving thing. But some of them are really,
but it's hard done by. It's the hard done
a
by.
lot of
I'm the victim.
victimizing. But a lot of it I can't understand. Like I can never, I'll never be able to understand some of them, because
But
some
was
of
your mum actualized?
no.
But she seemed pretty cool from the outside.
Yeah, if you
Very
weren't her
kind of spiritual,
child, yeah.
like party girl.
Yeah, and very
psychic
she did
and
tarot readings.
very
and
interesting
she had,
woman.
She was,
She
and
was
she had
crazy,
gifts, and
crazy
she was
wild.
She was very intelligent in some ways too, but she just
victimized.
Struggled with that the esteem part. She couldn't get past the esteem part.
Yeah, totally.
So really struggled with utilizing those tools for her
hanging around
own,
people she shouldn't.
Yes.
Knowing it, that's esteem.
giving
But I would
lots of
never hang around
energy
people
to
like
that. And also the manufacturing of reality, that it wasn't what it was, and just outwardly lying, saying it wasn't like that. And so my one of my biggest things that I really took from that was that every time she did that, everybody else watching in could see the lies, but she didn't realize that everybody knew she was lying. So it was like this really bizarre situation. So I'm somebody who likes to live in as much truth as possible. And I'm not saying that in a glorified way. I'm not saying that I'm 100% perfect all the time at being truthful, because I am human and I am flawed. But I do try in my life to really sit with the truth. Sometimes my reality might shift, and I might see something from a perspective, or I might miss something and get it wrong, and that is okay. I'm comfortable with that, but I also am accountable. I try to be accountable for that. I know there's moments where we struggle with that too, but being comfortable with your ability to accept that you sometimes don't see it, or you miss something, and you need to be accountable for that. That's another part of the efficient perception, I think, is looking within and going, I could have done that better, or I handled that in a way that wasn't, positive, or, I did something that affected somebody else. that's accountability. And I think that comes into number one, is that efficient perception of reality. Is that sometimes you do it too much. When you're self-actualized, you do go internally a little bit too much. And that is one of the parts you have to pull yourself out of a lot, is that analyzing everything too much.
Totally.
And then you end up with that over-analyzed, overwhelmed state.
Yeah, you'll like burn out for
Yeah.
days afterwards.
Yeah, burnout's a big
back
one.
to normal reality.
Burnout's a big one.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh wow, I've really gone over that about 25 times, and I think I've got
no
it.
one else cares.
But no one else actually cares. They're like, yeah, okay, yeah, you did yell at me that day, but
Yeah.
I'm actually over it days ago.
Yeah.
Thanks for going through that with me. But really, are you beating yourself up still about that? And you're like, well, yeah.
Right. But that's the thing, like, you know, doing a podcast, accidentally actualized, you know, where it's
we're gonna laugh at ourselves though.
Totally.
And that's another one, is you've got to, we in our family, we've raised our kids with humor, and I love seeing them grow up. Our kids are getting older now. You know, our youngest is nearly 12 and our eldest is 19. And what we see with them is that the ability, we all laugh at each other in a really funny way. We don't do it in a way that puts anybody down, but we will look at each other's kind of quirks and things that make us us, and we'll make fun of that, but in a really fun way, right? Like, so it'll be like jokes. You know, my kids will make me laugh about things that I do all the time. Like, I'm very clumsy. I fall over a lot. So it'll all be like, oh, Mum, you know, don't break your legs. And, you know, so silly stuff like that. And I just think it's great to be able to see the funny side of our flaws as well. You've got to be able to do that.
I think whatever reality you're in, you're dragging your kids up in that.
Yes.
So that's the trick, is like, you know, to try to leave the place better than when you came, all that kind of jazz, where if you can break the cycle. So whatever we go through here, a lot of the stories are breaking the cycle.
Yeah.
Or changing reality, like we're talking about, the point number one. And again, we're not saying we're the best. We're not doing any of that. It's not actually ego. We sit in this spa saying all this stuff anyway.
Yeah, we talk like this to each other.
So this is what we do normally
so
for hours a day.
Yeah.
So to us, turning on a mic, we're just sharing. We're just turning up. We're just putting it out there.
Yeah.
You know, so
we're sharing a part of ourselves.
That's it. So some of them are quite personal over, but it's not a scary thing. It should create conversation.
Yes.
You know, because that's what we enjoy. It's being accidentally actualized and then being, you know, knowing it. For example, it's hard to find your group.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the easiest thing to do. And a lot of the time putting different things out, like if we put our interests out there, we find like-minded people, which is not easy.
No, it's
because,
good.
Again, actualized people, you're pretty much, they don't need many other people.
No.
So that's kind of tricky. So
our social group is pretty much ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, but also outside of that, it might be that we can go in and out of connecting with people, but not need that. You don't need that.
It's more for work or services.
It's not a need. Yeah. And so it is work or services, or, you know, you going into the community to do our shopping and connecting with the people at, you know, Woolies or whatever. Like that is it's a social thing. I do volunteer work and stuff, but but it's more for the the connection stuff, but it's giving back a little bit too.
Yeah.
But the efficient perception of reality to me is that you see it for what it is. You know, like in one of the examples I've got too, is that knowing that dark energy exists, knowing that there are evil people out there. And that is a really hard reality to accept, but it is the truth.
That's one of the biggest denied because of the media and how it all
and a
works.
lot of people have never confronted it face to face.
It's just scary. Way
it
too
is scary to know
the people who run the world and to allow that to happen alone is scary. But everyone just kind of, and they look up to them. Really?
Yes.
Nah, thanks.
And even in your families as well, like, you know, it's knowing who is actually maybe not what they seem, or maybe not spiritually aligned, or maybe they do have some darkness in them, and accepting that, because you can't choose who's been put with you. And sometimes you have to accept that reality and make your decisions around that, not just for your own safety, but for your own peace as well. And so that brings us to the whole situation of seeing the fake and seeing people's facades, because a lot of the time, you know, they can be very good. It could be like the wolf in sheep's clothing type thing.
And we're not talking little fake. We're talking people living lives they
Yeah.
shouldn't be, people just doing crazy
And
shit,
bringing
like
people through it.
yes, and dragging everyone else down with them. Like, so they made a really bad decision. So instead of fixing that problem, they make it worse by bunkering down with the problem.
Or being a victim about it.
Yeah. And then everyone else is involved and they don't see it because they're fake. They're just faking reality. But it affects everyone else.
It does.
No one's going to, when you fake reality, I can guarantee no one will tell you the truth.
No.
They're not going to come up to you and tell you how to fix your problems.
So you won't
because
see
you
it.
can't accept reality.
No.
And you're not going to listen. You'll generally either get emotional or start, screaming at them or run away or whatever. But it's very, very hard to, talk to most people about reality and their reality. And when you can see it's so simple to fix, like it might be hard work, but it's still simple solutions. Doesn't cost anything, So, but a lot of the time, like the fakeness comes from because it does cost something.
Yeah.
A lot of people are attached to things because of materialism, like about money and, a lot of say like, relationships are basically run like a financial business. They are in a business. And so you're pretty much all self-employed as far as I see it, even if you work for the government.
And I think that's another thing with a relationship. That's a really good one to touch on, is the knowing in your marriage or in your partnership with somebody else, our perception of reality, well, I'm going to speak for myself, I guess. I don't want to speak for you. But my perception is that I am me, Matt is Matt. We are here by choice together. We've chosen to be together. We
Flaws
have,
and all.
Yeah, we have though. We've chosen this.
See?
So, who's got who?
I'm just saying. I see it.
Yeah,
reality. I'm
yes,
reality.
yeah. We do though.
Yeah, we do.
And the reality of that is that I'm not in control. I don't want to control anything that Matt does. I'm not. That's not my
demons
job.
are mine.
And not even that. Like, you are your person. You have autonomy over who you are. And I want to...
I don't want to change everyone.
I don't want to change you. I married you because you are you.
Yeah.
I don't want you to become another version of yourself that fits.
Well, I can't.
And I... No, but you shouldn't. But you shouldn't. But I'm just saying that as an example that I do see a lot in my client work, even, that people have this expectation that they're going to have a shift or there's going to be a change when an event happens or when they get established or when, this person will become more evolved or they'll have more. And I'm like, this person is the person. You can encourage them and support them. That's what your job is as a partner.
That's your minimum.
Is to encourage, support and love them. And, discuss things. You be honest about what bothers you, of course, but not in a way that's attacking them as a person. Like, I would never say to Matt, I'm unhappy with who you are, because that's not reality for me. I love him as a person, no matter what he might show up as. Even on bad days, we all have them. We all show up grumpy sometimes. We all show up happier sometimes.
I'm a master at it.
I'm not saying that. I'm
such a dickhead.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we all have our weaknesses and the things that we struggle with. And
absolutely.
To me, in those moments, to almost kick someone while they're down or they're struggling or they're upset is almost when you're their partner is not going to help things. I'm not saying to encourage behaviors that aren't good for them either, or for the family dynamic, but I'm saying not in the moment, because it doesn't actually fix anything. So my perception of reality in my relationship is that you never really know anybody 100%, because you can't get into their inner deeper world. And
everyone has secrets.
Yes, and deeper dark things that they struggle with and things they don't want to burden you with and all of those things. Yeah. But you don't need to either. No. You don't need to. What do you need is to know that if you've got trust for that person, there should always be trust and there should always be love. And they're the two foundations at the end of the day. Yeah.
And in a reality that's not lying.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Don't lie to each other.
Yeah. Do your best. And it's not always the easiest thing, but I think everything's training. Yeah. Like when I was a kid, I was a rat bag and I lied and I got out of everything.
Yeah. Everything. And as you said, you were quite good at it. I'm a master liar. Yeah.
I am actually a master liar. That was what I was renowned for. I could get out of anything. So, like that's where I came from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a lot of work to
cover it all.
to not.
Yeah.
You know. But what I did find about lying was what really fucks your reality up is that then you've got to process extra information you shouldn't have to, because you've got to recreate that event all the time.
See, I'm too forgetful
but that's the problem with lying. Like
I'm too ADD.
For
I couldn't
example,
do
we're
it.
talking about your mum's reality.
Yes. Oh,
like,
she couldn't do it very
she
well.
didn't care if she got caught out.
I don't know.
Because it was so obvious.
I don't think she actually realised she was being caught out.
She was on to a next life.
Yeah, maybe.